Hello, everyone. I hope you're all keeping well today. My name is Lorraine Lindsay. I'm a wellbeing specialist with Zevo Health, and today I'm going to talk to you about a very relevant topic, which is seasonal affective disorder. And I'm going to share 3 practical tips that you can take with you to help prevent the onset of seasonal affective disorder, also known as SAD. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to jump in and explore seasonal affective disorder. So it is a recurrent depressive disorder that's triggered by change in seasons. Usually the onset is in the autumn. The seasonal depression gets worse in the winter before ending then in the springtime. And research states that SAD is a depression primarily caused by the lack of natural light, and it's characterized by regular autumn and winter depressed mood. Now, I suppose anyone that has woke up for work and embarked on the commute in the freezing cold, the rain, can probably identify with the idea that, of course, seasons can impact our mood and how we feel. A lot of people might experience something called winter blues, where they notice they feel a little down in the winter months. After all, it's pretty cold out, and we might be inside quite a lot of the time. However, it's worth noting that seasonal affective disorder goes beyond this. SAD affects our daily life, including how we feel and how we think. So I'm going to go through some of the symptoms now of SAD, something to be aware of. First of all is persistent low mood, lack of energy, irritability, sleep issues. So this is normally oversleeping and struggling to stay awake. A weakened immune system, loss or lack of motivation. Then there's social issues, including withdrawing from social situations. So you might notice that you are avoiding or not hanging around with your friends as often as you might once, or in the summer, as you would in the summer. Lack of interest in activities which were previously enjoyable, overeating, and particularly carbohydrates and the sweet sugary foods, being lethargic, and general increased levels of anxiety. Now, it's important to note, if any of these symptoms resonate with you, that it doesn't automatically mean that you might have seasonal affective disorder, as the symptoms overlap with lots of different mental health issues. So it's best to link in with your doctor if you feel you have symptoms, so you can get the best support for yourself. So now I'll move into the 3 ways that we can help prevent symptoms of winter blues and seasonal affective disorder this winter and going forward. First of all, as discussed, lack of exposure to natural light is one of the apparent reasons, the main reasons behind winter seasonal affective disorder. So it shouldn't really come to a surprise that then light therapy, which is also known as phototherapy, is beneficial in keeping these symptoms at bay. Then light therapy aims to replace the missing daylight in the winter by exposing you to bright light that mimics natural outdoor light. Then daily exposure can suppress the brain's secretion of melatonin. So this would make you more alert and more awake, less drowsy and melancholy. So then how can we be exposed to this bright light? So it's through a light box. So this is a device created that delivers light with up to 10 times the intensity of normal domestic indoor lighting. In most cases, you just simply sit about maybe 12 inches in front of the light box for short periods of time during the morning. This light box emits a controlled amount of white light, so the harmful UV rays, they're all filtered out. And then you can get these light boxes from Amazon, pharmacies, or if you just do a general Google search, you'll find places that sell them online and in stores. And also to keep in mind with the light box as well, it's also important for you to check in and consult your doctor before trying light therapy. And you'll also maybe need guidance from your doctor on the length of exposure that would suit you to the light box. So then you can also add to the beneficial effects of light therapy by making a little extra effort to hunt down this natural daylight that we get in the winter time and autumn time. So if possible, take advantage of it as much as you can. So that might involve short walks before work and after work maybe. And it doesn't matter actually if the clouds are out, that's okay. The light is still getting through and being absorbed through your eyes. Also with this, not that you might be wearing sunglasses in winter, but no, not to wear sunglasses, as this actually blocks the natural light from being absorbed through our eyes. So that's a useful tip, I suppose, in the summer months as well. So now I'll move on to our second strategy to prevent seasonal affective disorder symptoms is adjusting our perspective of the winter months. Of course, what we think also influences how we feel. A person then that might develop seasonal affective disorder symptoms is more likely to perceive the winter as a negative time. So therefore, CBT, so cognitive behavioral therapies technique, I'm going to go through that of challenging negative and unhelpful thoughts related to the winter season, weather conditions, general lack of light, can help one to proactively cope with winter time. Then an example of an unhelpful thinking pattern might be, so I'll give you an example now. I never get to go outside and do anything fun in the evenings after work because it's too cold, it's too wet, it's too dark. I'm just stuck in the house. I hate winter. So this thought seems quite difficult, and it's no wonder that somebody would be feeling low and struggling with their mood during the winter. Then what can we do to change this? So we can learn to challenge unhelpful thoughts like this and different unhelpful negative thoughts. And remember, our thoughts aren't facts. Notice the thought that I just described is solely focused on the negatives about now and the future time spent during the winter. So we can learn to see the bigger perspective and challenge these thoughts. So some questions that can challenge negative thoughts about winter time. What pleasant activities could I do in the winter? Maybe they're indoors, something to think about. So winter time is a time to slow down. Could be a time to connect with family, friends, and the people you live with, so your housemates. Time to work on other things. Read the book maybe you've been meaning to get around to. Try out some recipes that you didn't have time to, maybe in the summer. Maybe there's some shows that you'd like to watch, but you just haven't had the time and got around to that either yet. So make a list of activities, pleasant activities you could do throughout the winter. And of course, it might be cold outside, definitely, and quite miserable out. But does that really always prevent us from going outside? So that's kind of a rigid thought. So it might be time to pull out our winter woolies. Maybe we could change our routine. So our morning walk could be shorter. We could listen to a podcast to make it more of a pleasant experience for us. As I was saying, just making lists of pleasurable activities that you can do in the winter. And by challenging and uprooting negative thought patterns, we're actually empowering ourselves to identify and engage in enjoyable activities instead of dwelling on negative thoughts about the winter time. So one more tip on challenging negative, unhelpful thoughts is to adopt an external voice. So for example, instead of saying, I hate winter. So if you notice a thought like this coming into your mind, you could state, I'm noticing the thought that I hate winter. And so what this does is creates a distance from you and your thoughts. And as I was saying, thoughts aren't facts. You are not your thoughts. So that is opening up the space for you to shine a light on your thoughts, examine them, and then challenge them and help get alternative ways of thinking. And the research on this suggests that reconstructing our perspective of winter can help buffer against relapse and difficulties in following winters. So then the final strategy that I'm going to share with you today is another cognitive behavioral therapy technique called behavioral activation. That is pleasant activities to modify our mood and thought patterns. And I know, of course, when we are feeling low, tired, and unmotivated, it can be very difficult to engage in activities. However, avoiding or not engaging in activities doesn't help us, and it can create a vicious cycle. For example, we feel low, so we don't do anything. We might stay in the house and not engage in activities even in the house. Then when we don't do anything, that makes us feel worse. Our mood can decrease again. And if we wait to feel motivated, sometimes we wait to feel motivated to do something, this might just not happen. And we're going to have really a miserable time. And that could lead to more symptoms of SAD. So SAD being seasonal affective disorder. But the good news is we can use activities, so actions we do, to influence and boost our mood. So instead of waiting for our mind to feel better and then act, we can act to influence how we feel. Then behavioral activation seeks to help someone identify activities that are engaging, they can connect to them, and they're pleasurable. And that can be indoors, outdoor, to improve coping with winter time. So again, just making a list of pleasurable activities, make time for leisure activities, bring you joy. That could be something like painting, exercise, spending time with a pet, or just hanging out with your friends. So whatever you like to do. The next step in that then will be to schedule these activities into your week. So set a tentative date and time for the activity, such as meeting for a friend for a coffee on a Saturday morning, going for a walk for 20 minutes before work 3 times a week. So we're more likely to be successful if we schedule these activities into our routine instead of having rough plans. We can forget about things, or we might not carry out the activity if we don't have that set plan. So there are my 3 tips that I've shared with you today to prevent symptoms of seasonal affective disorder. I hope they were useful. Thank you for listening.